Hi, I am Robin, and this is Garden Extra. Gave these little flowers some more thought, and last year I seeded a English daisy, and it was very difficult to seed. Basically, the last seeding was 3-4 seedings in. I put them under a table in some shade, protected. And I was able to get them a couple inches, and then I put them around the garden. And when you're seeding perennials, you don't get flowers the first year. You get flowers the next year. So a lot of time passes. And I've seen them in a couple of other gardens, and I remember when I was planting out the little short sprouts that I dispersed them around the yard because, you know, every spot's a little different and I wanted them to take. And I believe most of them, if not all of them, took. Once I finally got past the small seeding stage. I was busy and missed this garden at its spring peak. But it's still very pretty. There was some footage that got lost in the mix and never got put online. I was early. And then while I was working, you know, extremely busy time of year, I didn't have my camera when I walked by, and it was so pretty. These purple tulips in the mix just really made it special. So it's rained. And everything's really starting to look lush. This is where most of the bleeding hearts are coming from. This garden here, because it got so big I had to divide them. I have most of my initial spring work finished. So I have more time to stop and film. It's my daughter's planter from the farm. She has flowers that she likes to put in it. She just hasn't gotten to it yet. This needs to be edged, but it's not a big deal. Everything's really wet. That's not a good time to be digging up grass. A lot of the tropicals have been put away. Tomatoes, peppers have been put away. Temperatures have been chilly. We saved this pot from our spring sale. Everybody loves it. So I stack stuff up and I tell them to, if they see anything they want to keep, just take it out of the mix. This is where most of the roses are. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different kinds. The climbing roses came from the farm. They survived. They're going to take a couple years to grow in. So one looks good. One's alive back there. You can see the stick, but there's growth at the bottom. The one on this side bloomed like crazy last year. We have Orioles. They were hovering the window, telling my daughter that's her room. That's where she works. Bedroom / office. The Orioles kept coming to the feeder and, you know, looking in the window. It's the, hey lady, feeder's empty. That's happened to me before. Once you get them, they'll let you know when they need something. They'll just keep hovering around the window until you notice them. Fly away and come back to the feeder until you get your butt up and go fill it. I love those birds. They're my favorite. This rose here didn't bloom last year because it was moved the year before. So this year it'll bloom. I'm sure of it. So it looks pretty lush. It was a back-breaking job to clean this one out. But it should be in good bloom next video. This is the triangle garden. It's slow to catch on. It is a mature garden. Once it catches on, it's going to be awesome. The triangle garden to the rear is where I've been working. Garden in between is new. And is mostly shrubs. New shrubs take 3 years. They're on year 2. Some of the shrubs were mature-ish and were just moved, which means it takes a year. I have work to do in the middle. I want to connect the 2 beds, which means just taking grass out, but it's wet, so thankfully I don't have to do that today. That is the worst job. I hate that job. But I do it because I love my garden. I want to bring this out a little more. There's room. There's room to fatten that up and make it nice. That's what I had done to the other side before we decided to put chickens and ducks over there and had to take the whole thing out. My grocery store, Kroger, always has flowers out front. I do not like shopping, but I grab a flower as often as I can. That was $2 last year. It's a perennial. And I snatched a bunch of those up. I love it. That is so pretty. I went by the picture. I don't really know this flower. But it's a perennial, and I am in love. I am really attracted to white for 2 years in a row now. Come on, focus. English daisies. I remember putting them over here, and they're in the log garden too. I gotta go in there and find that one and move them out because they're so short, they need to be found and moved. I found it back here in the middle. I need to keep pulling out the forget-me-nots because there's perennials in here. I don't want them suffocated. Instead of putting them in the compost pile, I took them in the house and put them in water last night. This is one that I got from the grocery store. $2. They're small. And I assumed that they would take a year to bloom. 1 or 2 did bloom last year, but $2 for a perennial. Can't beat that. I got some delphiniums for $2. hope they come back. Can't tell. The foliage, because the delphiniums are different varieties, doesn't look the same. Here we go. So this is how I know this didn't come from the wildflower seed mix. These are the ones I planted because they're all over the yard, and I only put wildflowers in one garden. Look how pretty that is. I fell in love with the picture on the seed pack. I'm obsessed with daisies. I'm collecting and growing every daisy I can get my hands on. This one I really like. I'm gonna have to pull it out though because the things in this garden are big and full. And the only reason you can see it is because I pulled things out. This came out of the log garden on the other side when I had to redo the garden last year. Turns into a really large shrub. It was planted next to the pond and it just got too big after we put the fences up. It's about to get real pretty around here. Yep. So excited. I let the bachelors out. They're well behaved most of the time. They have their moments. We have one more shade tarp to put up here. Hopefully this weekend. Friday's gonna get up to 90. Maybe I'll kind of haphazardly put it up and then let the guys fix it. Maybe I can do a good job, who knows? Let's not underestimate myself. I have complained a little and a lot about moving all my stuff and losing gardens. But when I'm finished, it's going to be better than it was. It's just going to take me a couple years to get it there. Almost there. This is the far side of the property. And the guys went and dug up a bunch of evergreens and put in a row. Far side of the property. Other side. Planted a little bit on the fence ends. That's going to take a long time to get that done and grown in. And the guys have some ideas. Crystal has ideas for the back of that fence. That big shrub will be blooming soon. It gets really pretty back here. This is growing in. This was the only place I could find to put my compost piles, which I really need this year. I think next year I won't have to buy any. I have to build one more. So these have choked out other perennials back here. I need to get back here and do some pulling. There was a time where I was looking for anywhere I could find to put straw. I went through so much straw last year. Last winter, during the winter with the chickens. Crazy. Oh yeah, I see. I see. Here. It's budding out good. It's just not open yet. This is going to be really pretty. I had sunflowers against the shed last year. but they're an annual, so they didn't come back up. They probably reseeded there, but I needed some storage, and so do the kids. So I think I'm going to leave the back open and just garden around the front. So I started back here around the same time everything was getting destroyed. So I stretched it further. To make up for the middle stuff is really fat. And everything needs garden in or garden around. My next walkabout's going to have a lot of blooms. These grew in nice. This is going to be special, but it is so skinny. It's that knacking cherry. It gets large, but that's what I'm starting with. Gotta start somewhere. Raspberries, I decided not to weed them this year. It's that ground cover mint, invasive weed. Usually I take it out, but I'm not going to this year. My daughter told me that there's buds on this vine. And there is. They bought this last year at Alexander's, blooming. So we started with this one huge. I wish I could remember the name of it, but I will remember the name of it. It's just not on the tip of my tongue. One of the plants I wintered on the back shelf. I think I might use it in an arrangement. I haven't done pots yet, and I don't want to do too many. I just want to do a couple big ones and try to do them well. Kiwi. This is the kiwi. Spider mites got my propagations. I'm crossing my fingers I'm not losing them. Peonies. Also came from the duck area garden. I'm going to take you in there because I started gardening along the fence. But it was really big, so it broke up into a bunch of different pieces when I moved them. So I have pieces of that white peonies all over the place. More storage back here. Collective Treasures cleaned out the shed. And they moved out the shelves so that they would have space for bigger things. So thank you. Appreciate it, Chrissy and Richie. Grapes might have to move. They want to bring the fence out more. I hope we don't have to, but that's what I heard. That's the scuttlebutt. There's Gray and her baby. Missy still got her babies upstairs. She's not ready to come out yet. And the duck is still in the crate sitting on eggs. Hey, ducky. My family has started calling these little babies the Three Stooges. These are the ones I hatched early in the spring. These are Gray's eggs. So this one is a gray rooster, like a light blue. And the hen that I'm in love with on the other side is a darker light blue, gray. So we're getting some good color in the line. I'm really happy with it. Wisteria. That's what that vine is in front of the shed. This is also a wisteria that I grew from a stick. Oh my gosh, gotta be 5 years old and it has not bloomed. And I looked it up and it can take years, like 28 years for a seedling to bloom. This is a stick and it's massive. It should bloom soon. Which is funny because I planted 2. There were 2 in the box. And this one just has not taken off. Look how little it is. I considered moving it. I don't think it's getting enough sun. And the other one's taken over. And it's going to come all the way across the deck front. I have a trumpet vine on this corner that's mature and massive. Might take this little one out and move it. Spread the love. The pussy willow is getting ready to bloom again. It bloomed inside the chicken coop late winter. Wasn't sure if that was going to ruin it or not, but it didn't. It's going to bloom again. My boxwood I bought is winter interest for the deck. Winter. And I built an arrangement around it. I forgot how pretty the foliage was.